studio here in Beit Shemesh, Israel. Hope you guys are doing great. Today's a non-musical show. We normally interview a band member, but I thought we haven't done a question and answer session in a long time. And this is going to be our 6th question and answer session out of the 62 shows. So we've gotten already some questions from some of our listeners and some of our who send me emails or messengers or whatever it is. Because as you know, through Restream.io, we go live on 4 Facebook pages, 2 YouTube channels, 1 LinkedIn, and 1 Twitter. Sound is low. Oh, yes, of course sound is low. That is unbelievable. I want to thank you. Esther, we're thanking Esther. Now can you hear me? All right, we're going to start again. This is show number 62 of Lenny Solomon Live, and this show is a non-musical show. It is a question and answer session. Question and answer number 6 of the 62 shows. We are very happy to be here in Beit Shemesh, Israel, in the Four Corner Project.org studios. And I can't believe it. I forgot to set up the mic. You see, that's the great thing about live TV, live internet TV, is that, sometimes your technician doesn't get it right. In this case, I'm the technician. We want to thank everybody here. I already see we're getting messages from, of course, our associate producer, Judy Hertzfeld, and from Esther, who told me that my sound was low because I wasn't using a microphone, which is pretty funny, considering I'm a musician and I sing into a microphone. All right? Look at the hashgacha. Look at how God works, ladies and gentlemen. How Esther tunes in live and immediately saves it, because I would have spoken for 30 minutes without a mic. That would have been great. Okay, so as I said in the beginning, without the mic, we have questions that people have sent in. I'm also going to take questions from the studio, from people writing in on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. It comes to me right here at Restream.io, and I will answer questions. Also, remember that we are in the middle of our fundraising tour. It's the night before Chanukah, everybody. Before we start, let me give you the schedule for the rest of Chanukah. Here we go, as we do our paperwork. Tomorrow night, December 10th, musical Chanukah show for you guys. Sunday, special Zoom concert. It's going to be at 6 p.m. Israel time, 11 a.m. New York time. Okay? Why? Because people wrote to me and said you can't do it in the middle of the football games. To think about that. Can't do it in the middle of the football games. Okay, so we moved it earlier. We moved it before the football games. So it's 11 a.m. New York time, 6 p.m. Israel time. And we're going to do a Zoom concert. It's for anybody that donates over $100. Already there are people that are in this concert. And it will be taped. If you can't be there for whatever reason, I will email you the concert. Okay, so where were we? Right, so that's this Sunday, December 13th, special Zoom show, 6 p.m. Israel time, 11 a.m. Eastern time. Tomorrow night, big Chanukah show. Also on December 13th, I will be appearing at the Chanukah Telethon for Chabad of Mineola. So check that out. If you're you could watch it, you could see it on the net, you could see it on cable TV, all over the world. For Rabbi Pearl and the Chabad of Mineola, it's the Chabad Chanukah Telethon. Now, December 14th, we have our second musical show, Chanukah show number 2. And then on December 15th, our big interview with Yonah Lloyd, one of the band members. I believe that's going to happen. He told me it's not 100% sure, but I'm almost sure that it is. So we're going to announce it. Yonah Lloyd, December 15th. Finally, on December 16th, we have a show for the PJ Library and the Jewish Federation of Palm Beach County. That will be on the 7th night of Chanukah. After that, we take the rest from December 16th till January 4th. We are off, and we will be raising money for the Four Corners Project, because after all, remember, the only way we have so many projects, ladies and gentlemen. I'll tell you more about them later. But in the meantime, let's start off with one question. This is a funny question. I am going to start off with that. Did you ever have a concert and not have a voice? And if so, how did you perform? Okay, So there's a bunch of answers to that question. The answer is that I have done over 2,000 shows in my career. I've only had to cancel one because I actually did not have a voice at all. I still went over there and I played piano, but I did not have a voice. Now, I'll tell you 2 or 3 stories. In the early 1990s, we were playing shows and I was abusing my voice. I did not know how to really, sing softly, warm up before a show, warm up in order to get your voice ready. You can't just turn on a car and it has to warm up, right? That's the way it works. Same thing with a voice. A voice, you have to warm up the voice with exercises before you go on. And I would just go on and I'd blow my voice out. And in 1990 or so, 1991, I would come to shows and have no voice right to start, before I even started. And what happened? My band would bail me out because the band knew every single lyric. And I would sing, but not very little would come out, and my band would be singing along with me. That's what that was Yona Lloyd. It was Gary Wallen, Danny Block, Mark Infield, and of course Mark Skyer, Dave Hirsch, who replaced with Mark Skyer as the second bass player in Shlock Rock, Penny Rosenthal, who was the second guitar player at that time. So what happened is that sometimes in the beginning, I had issues. I went to see an ENT, ear, nose, and throat doctor, and they checked me out. But what saved me was a speech therapist named Dr. Phil Schneider. Dr. Phil Schneider, who is a fantastic speech therapist. And he taught me how to talk. Not only, the part of the problem was the talking, that I was screaming when I was talking. So that was very interesting. I also had a show where Rabbi Brian thought I had no voice, and he had hired me in Brooklyn. He knows every word to pretty much every Shlock Rock song, certainly the early years, even going up through the 2000s. And he sang the whole show. That was another thing. And then finally, I'll tell you a funny story. Oh, so then I went to Chazan Moshe Katz, who was my voice teacher singing, and he gave me exercises to warm up my voice. And so I would exercise before a show, and I could bring my voice from 0 to 50%. So at least I had something to give, But there was one show where, well, we'll get into that a little bit later. So that's question number 1. Did I ever not have a voice? Answer is yes, and now I've learned how to manage my voice. I've learned how to take care of my voice so that when I come to a show, the voice is there. Of course, there are really no shows right now, except for the ones that I do here at the Four Corners Project.org studio. Next question that comes in. I'm just going to see if any other questions have come in. You guys feel free to ask questions. Okay, here we go. Second question. When you are writing songs, what comes first, the lyrics or the music? Great question. Okay. It depends. Now, obviously, if it's a parody, the music is there already. So we're not talking about parodies now, because parodies are a whole different ballgame. When you're writing a parody, we'll talk about writing parodies. But this is about original music. What comes first? So the answer is, I'd like to think the idea comes first. The idea comes first, and then the music and the lyrics come together. Now, sometimes I'll get a musical hook in my head and then write the words. And sometimes I'll get a lyrical idea in my head and then the music comes. So it really depends. And it's really all about God. You see, as I've told you guys, the whole career, Shlock Rock, my whole career is God-based. Because, I never expected to do this for a living. And I never knew that I would. My father, may he rest in peace, knew that I would be a musician. But I never knew that I would do it for a living. I mean, how many people do music for a living? Very few. And I was one of the lucky ones. But it was all because Hashem gave me this talent of being able to write. And when I say write, you access this spiritual pipeline up in heaven, you get this idea. Spiritual pipeline, ideas come down, and you're able to access it. And anybody can access it. Even if you're writing about secular things, you can access it. It's creativity. And yes, I am a lefty. But I think there are righties that access it too, obviously. Not everybody's a lefty who's a musician or a writer. But there is a high percentage of lefties in this field, just to let you know. Okay, so I hope I've answered the question. The key is inspiration. The idea comes, and then the music and the lyrics, they can come pretty much at the same time. I mean, occasionally the lyrics will come first, occasionally the music will come first, but I like to think they both come in at the same time because it's the idea that's created. Okay, that was question number 2. Okay, let's go to question number 3, which is a funny question. Has Budweiser or any big corporate sponsor ever underwritten your tours? So we were talking with Gary Wallen, and we were speaking about how Waldbaum supermarkets sponsored our summer tours, especially in the beginning. That I'm going to say is the extent of our sponsorships. We never had Budweiser sponsor a Shlock Rock tour, and we've never had, I don't know, Manischewitz or Kedem or gefilte fish or whatever. Nobody has sponsored our tours, but we are open to it, and it's a great thing to do. So I'm going to tell you all, if any of you guys have a company, you want to be sponsored, we will put your logo on the wall. We will do what we have to do. We will give you guys props. Make sure, just contact us. You can contact me. Very easy. I'm very accessible on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube, and on email, and through the website. And just let me know, and we will set it up. Sponsorships. Okay? All right. Let's take a break from questions for now. And I want to just do a little bit of fundraising because this is our fundraising season. We have, 18 days, 19 days left until the end of the year. Everybody out there, it's the big ask. It's time for the big ask. Just go out there and support the fourcornersproject.org. Let me tell you what we have on the agenda. 10 music videos are going to come out this year, Bezrat Hashem, with God's help. 2 new albums, a new webisode called Exploring Israel, Lenny Solomon Live, 3 animations. How am I going to do all this? The answer is this is all I do. So we have a staff, and we will do it. And we will put out fresh content for you guys all the time. We will go on Lenny Solomon Live whenever I'm in Israel and not on the road. And by the way, that's why we're going on hiatus, because I am planning on coming to New York for 11 days to see my mom and my brother and sister and anybody else out there from December 17th to December 28th. So we'll see if that happens. Hopefully, the world will stay the way it is, or at least, and I will be able to come. So where was I? Right. And remember, it's tax deductible. And individuals, you can sponsor as well. You could sponsor an online concert if you want with the entire band, as opposed to just me alone doing solo shows. Solo shows are great. Whatever you want to do. There's lots of opportunities. Albums, songs in an album, videos, music videos, everything. I feel like I'm PBS. You remember those PBS fundraising marathons? So now here we are. This is the Shlock Rock fourcornersproject.org fundraising marathon. But it is serious because we have to be funded. There is a lot to do. And why? What is it that we're doing? Informal Jewish education. We make people feel good about Judaism, learn more about their heritage through our music and through the videos. Okay, so that's our plug. Just go to www.fourcornersproject.org, make a donation for the year, or you can, if you're on Facebook, just send me a message. I'll send you a link. Whatever you want to do. You handle it. I trust you guys. Okay, let's go back to the questions now. And then we'll do prayers for the sick. Here we go. Who does your wardrobe? How many hockey jerseys do you have? These questions are very funny. Okay, who does my wardrobe? I do my wardrobe. Although I ask my wife, does it match? Because sometimes I don't match. So, I'm trying to get the colors to match. I'm not great with that stuff. Now, but you'll notice that when I'm playing music, when I'm not playing music, I'm not wearing a hockey jersey. But when I play music, I wear a different hockey jersey every single night. Why? I love jerseys. I love sports jerseys. It makes you feel young. It makes you feel alive. You feel like you're coming alive. Now, the goal is, how many hockey jerseys do I have? Well, I'll tell you what I have. I have 23. Soon, I have 23 teams or 22 teams, around 28 or 29 jerseys, because some of them I have 2. And then another 11 are waiting for me that I'm going to bring back from America when I go in. And then we'll have 1 of every team. Is that enough? No, we want 3 of every team so that we will have 96 jerseys, and we can you'll have a different look every single night. I just think it's so much fun. And baseball caps too. We have every Major League Baseball team, and all that stuff. Okay, so that's something you could sponsor too if you want to. You want to sponsor a hockey jersey, but I would rather you sponsor the music rather than the wardrobe. Just going on the record. All right, here we go. Did you ever do all-nighters to make it to a show? Meaning, did I ever drive all night? It's a very, very funny thing. I'm going to drop names now. I don't know if you guys remember, in the 2000s, there was a group called Evan and Jaron. Evan and Jaron they had a top 10 hit in rock and roll, which we schlocked. And they also had Jaron eventually had a solo career where he had a top 10 hit in country music. They're good friends of mine, and I used to speak to them about the road. Now, Shlock Rock has gone on the road for 30 years. It's going to be 34 years. Our birthday is in January. Shlock Rock's birthday. Shlock Rock turns 34 in January. So, I've done 2,000 shows. I've been all over the world. Obviously, we have done all-nighters. I'll tell you a couple of experiences. One, I played the Manhattan Jewish Experience dinner, got into the car, drove all night to Richmond, Virginia, where I had a 10 a.m. show. That is not good planning. For those of you out there that are musicians, not good planning. Because I was the only one driving. I had to pull over to the side of the road around 3 times. But I made it there. I got it to Richmond 7 a.m. Show was at 10. And then later that day, I had a show in Newport News, Virginia. That's crazy. That's crazy scheduling. Now, sometimes you can't help it because those dates are locked in, and that's when they want you to do a show. But really, as a scheduler, as a manager, because I managed Shlock Rock, and I managed the scheduling. You want to do it so that it's livable. My mother always used to say to me, "Is it a livable schedule? Can you live with this?" I say, "Sure, Ma." But the truth is, I couldn't live with this. Now let me tell you about a couple of all-nighters that I did with Eitan G. Eitan G and I always did all-nighters because Eitan G is a night person, right? Oh, wait, question coming in? Let me see. Eitan G is a night person. I'm a day person. And he does the night driving. And sometimes we'll switch off. Obviously, we'll switch off. But we once drove all night. I'm going to say it was from Sacramento to Salt Lake City. And there's a problem with that because in the morning when you have to perform, if you have to perform, your voice needs the rest. Just FYI. Eitan G helped me out on that show. I didn't really have a voice on that show. Bringing back to question number 1. So that was the answer to that question. Have I ever done all-nighters? Yes, I have. Sometimes you have to do it. So why did I bring up Evan and Jaron? Because Evan and Jaron, before they made it big, traveled for 24 months all night. Their bus would take them from one college site to another college site to a bar. Shlock Rock never had to do that because we're a Jewish rock band. We played Jewish day schools. We played JCCs. We played religious schools, Hebrew schools, you name it. But we didn't have to do all-nighters, really, except Chanukah time when we would do like 16 shows in 19 days, or Purim where we would do like 5 shows in 7 days, or, you want to make everybody happy. They all want a show, and you want to be able to be there, but sometimes, you overbook. But you have to do it because you're not going to be working during Sfirat HaOmer. You're not going to be working a lot during the 7 weeks between Passover and Shavuot, or the 3 weeks between Shiva Asar B'Tammuz and Tisha B'Av. the 17th day of Tammuz and the 9th day of Av, when it was 3 weeks of mourning, you're not going to get gigs. You know what I'm saying? So you got to take it when it comes. That's one of the things that a musician does. So sometimes you have no choice. You have to schedule things that are not livable. As my mother would say, is it livable? No, it was not livable. But I told her it was, because you don't want your mother to worry, but she worries anyway. Okay. We've already answered 5 of the questions. I've already spoken. I've done for 20 minutes. We've gone on for 20 minutes. We have 2 or 3 more questions. Okay. Let me first go to the prayers for the sick. Prayers for the sick. It's that time of the show when we highlight people that need your help. Okay. Yosef Michael ben Yehudit Shoshana actually had a heart transplant, and he's recovering. Daven for him. Yosef Michael ben Yehudit Shoshana. Okay? Now, Yehudis or Yehudit bat Razel Shoshana, another Razel Shoshana, Yehudit bat Razel Shoshana, needs prayers. She's got an illness, so, whatever. So just, you could say Tehillim for her. Shmuel Michael ben Malka, who was my friend, was one of the singers in the band, who had an aneurysm, now is back in the hospital for another issue. He could definitely use your help. Shmuel Michael ben Malka. Yitzchak ben Yenta. He's a very close rabbi friend of mine. He has an illness. He could use help. Eliza bat Batsheva. She's getting better. She's still pray for her. Rivka Fruma bat Leah Bela. Rivka Fruma bat Leah Bela. She needs your prayers. And let's do one more. Let's do, okay, Shlomo Elimelech ben Rivka. Shlomo Elimelech ben Rivka, if you want to pray for them. Okay, that is our prayers for the sick section. Let's go back now to our questions. All right, so we've answered 5 of your questions so far. Question 6. What is the status of Daniel in Babylon? Great question. For those of you that don't know, back in 2012, I got this inspiration. It was the greatest inspiration I've ever gotten, frankly. I wrote an entire rock opera, an entire musical on the book of Daniel called Daniel in Babylon. Now, is it on all 12 chapters of the book of Daniel, for those of you familiar? No, because chapters 7 through 12 are prophecies, which nobody really knows what they mean. Oh, you can prognosticate, you can guess, but nobody really has been able to figure it out. Now, the first 6 chapters, though, are the story of Daniel's life. And I got so inspired. The songs, they came down like water. It was unbelievable. And I wrote this musical, and now it's 8.5 years old. Okay. Goal is to make it into an independent film. Okay? An independent film. We're going to shoot it here in Israel. The budget is $5 million. And right now, we're waiting for that investor. Now, here's the thing. As you know, let's say we wanted to go Broadway, or we wanted to go to a theater type production. Everything is shut down right now. Hollywood is shut down. Broadway has announced that they're shut down till next summer, 2021. So it makes it hard to raise money in that regard. We're still waiting for that investor, hoping that investor will come in. Daniel in Babylon, though, was very much alive, and we're hoping something good will happen very, very soon, very soon. So don't give up on it. I haven't given up on it. And I've written other musicals, too. Who Gets the House, which you guys have never heard, and The Hunch, which you guys have never heard. I've written 3 musicals. Writing musicals are really fun, especially if you have a very good playwright with you. In the first 2 musicals, The Hunch and Who Gets the House, I had this great playwright that I worked with. It was just fabulous. And the third musical, Daniel in Babylon, the book was written by whoever wrote the book of Daniel, which I think was Jeremiah, but I'm not sure. It might have been Ezekiel. It might have been Yecheskel. It was either Yirmiyahu or Yecheskel, I believe. So I took the story and I wrote the book. I mean, I wrote the words and I wrote the music. It's a rock opera. That means everything is sung. All right. Last question coming in. And I got this question. It was a very innocent question. How are you making a living being that there are no shows? And the answer is, the way you make a living is through God. God decides how much money you're going to make, and then he gives it to you. Now, I'm used to making it through music. Obviously, you have limitations, but through the Four Corners Project as executive director, through through bar mitzvah lessons, which I teach here in Israel, and I'm even teaching a student in Melbourne, Australia, through Zoom. So you have to be creative. You have to be creative, and you have to keep working at it. But it is a struggle, but everybody out there is struggling, you guys. You just have to have faith in God. You have to put your trust in God, and God will be your trust. Jeremiah 17:7. Baruch HaGever asher yivtach b'Hashem v'haya Hashem mivtacho. All right, I think that brings us to the end of our show here at Lenny Solomon Live. Tomorrow night, big Chanukah show. Some people would say, please, Lenny, play some Chanukah music. No, not till Chanukah. Tomorrow night, we'll have 8 days of Chanukah music. I promise we'll give you lots of Chanukah music. Lots. Okay, hope you've enjoyed the show. Remember, send those donations in to the fourcornersproject.org. Keep in touch. Let me know what you think. Keep on shlocking, and have a great night. See you tomorrow.